Good morning, everybody. I got a little bit of a request to do Billy Ed Wheeler. And I'm not sure where he's from. Kentucky, maybe? West Virginia, possibly? I'm not real sure. But someplace around that area. Ode to the Little Brown Shack Out Back. And we all know what that is, don't we? Or don't we? If you've never had to use the Little Brown Shack Out Back, and we're talking about an outhouse, if you've never had to use one of those, you haven't lived. I did when I was a kid. My grandfather lived in Michigan, and they lived rough. They had an outhouse. They had a potbelly stove for heat, and that was it. They had a pump in the kitchen for water. They didn't have regular plumbing. As kids, we were just little, so they would get a galvanized tub out in the middle of the floor and fill it full of hot water, and that's where we took baths. Now, where they got the hot water from, I suppose they heated it on that big stove that my grandmother used to cook in. One of those big stoves with the, the things that you got to take that heavy plate off and you feed it with wood. And oh, yeah, those were the days. That's when you know you're living. Billy Ed Wheeler, Ode to the Little Brown Shack Out Back. Certainly not out front. That's against code.
They passed an ordinance in the town.
Oh, see, I told you.
Said we'd have to tear it down.
Oh dear.
That little old shack out back, so dear to me.
Oh.
Though the health department said its day was over and dead, it will stand forever in my memory.
No kidding.
Don't let them tear that little brown building down. Don't let them tear that precious building down. Don't let them tear that little brown building down. For there's not another like it in the country or the town.
Oh, yes, there is. If you lived back in those days.
It was not so long ago that I went tripping through the snow.
That's right.
Out to that house behind my old hound dog.
Been there, done that.
Where I'd sit me down to rest like a snowbird on his nest.
That's right. Brush the snow off the seat.
And read the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
You haven't lived until you've experienced that.
I would hum a happy tune, peeping through the quarter moon,
Right.
as my daddy's kin had done before. It was in that quiet spot daily cares could be forgot. It gave the same relief to rich and poor. Don't let 'em tear that little brown building down. Don't let 'em tear that precious building down. Don't let 'em tear.
What you gonna do if they do? Tear it down, I mean.
Building down, for there's not another like it in the country or the town. Now it was not a castle fair,
No.
but I could dream a future there and build my castles to the yellow jackets' drones. I could orbit around the sun, fight with General Washington, or be a king upon a golden throne. He's seen one of them, I know. It wasn't fancy built at all.
No.
We had newspapers on the wall.
Right.
It was air conditioned in the winter time. It was just a humble hut, but its door was never shut, and a man could get inside without a dime.
Boom, boom.
Don't let 'em tear that little brown building down. Don't let 'em tear that precious building down. Don't let 'em tear that dear old building down. For there's not another like it in the country or the town.
Yeah, and I've seen ones that were two-seaters. Now, who in the hell? Who's gonna? Hey, come on in. There's another. There's room. There's room for everybody in here. Yeah, indeed. I can remember there was one someplace we lived. Like I say, I was just little, and the door was all busted up on it. It was just a creaky old thing, and there were cows in the field, and they weren't kept from the house, so they were just wandering wherever they wanted to wander. I mean, they were fenced somewhat, but we were apparently in wherever the cows were wandering. And you'd be in there, and all of a sudden, here come this nose through the broken part of the door. Ah, the good old days. And people complain today when their phone stops working. All righty. Billy Ed Wheeler, Ode to the Little Brown Shack Out Back. Please don't tear that building down. All right. Later, folks.